Wahala for dead body as terrorists distribute old Naira notes to passengers on Borno Highway. Now, some terrorists suspected to be members of the Islamic State of West Africa province, HESWAP, they have been distributing huge amounts of old notes to scores of commuters in the Lake Chad Basin ahead of the deadline of the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN cashless policy. So they were rushing to meet the deadline of the old Naira notes because CBN have said, look, on the 31st of January 2023, we are going to stop collecting, or they have directed the commercial banks to stop collecting the old Naira notes. From February 1, it will be all new notes as they have redesigned it before the extension after the CBN governor met with President Muhammadu Buhari at his Daura home in Castina, wherein the president approved for an extension from the 1st of February to 10th of February 2023. So instead of terminating on 31st, it will not terminate on the 10th of February as against the initial 31st of January. Now the terrorists, as we have said, Islamic State of West Africa province, Islamic State of West Africa province. Now they have been sharing this money, disbursing it to commuters, the old notes, in order to beat the initial deadline. A source said, the members were dressed in military camouflage and they drove 2 gun trucks. A resident, one Bakura Ibrahim, said, the insurgents positioned themselves under a tree and stood by the roadside with bags of old Naira notes. According to him, I quote, "We left Monguno at about 12 noon. As we approached Mairari, there were no existing checkpoints in the area. We were apprehensive. They stopped us and asked if we were going to Maiduguri. Then they started giving each person 100,000 Naira, 100,000 old Naira notes. But we could not believe it. They gave each occupant of the Gulf Volkswagen," Bakura said. You have seen it. He continued, said, "The group simply told us, if you think you can go there, banks, and change it to new Naira, go and do so. May Allah make it beneficial to you." End of quote. And this is what he just said. You have seen it. 100,000 to each person, to tell you the amount of money these guys has amassed in this their business. So they said if you can go to their banks and change it to new Naira, go and do so. Their banks. You've seen it, their banks. So to tell you, these are their partners. These men are partnering with government. The people who are being deceived are the citizens, the masses. The citizens of Nigeria are being deceived. Otherwise, the terrorists and the government, they are working together. Government of Nigeria, they are working in tandem. I must tell you the truth. They are working together. Look at the amount of money they have amassed. Well, we've said it. Only in Kaduna State, just in 8 months, about 4 billion Naira was amassed through this kidnapping for ransom that the bandits were doing. About 4 billion Naira in 8 months, only in Kaduna State. You've seen it. So these people are working with government and government officials. We have said it for the opportune time that they don't look like people who are collecting such amount of money. Yes, these men, these bandits, if you see them, they look haggard. They look haggard. And so, where is the money going into? So it then means that there are powerful individuals, highly placed personalities who have been sponsoring them up until this present moment. And so they are trying to disburse the old Naira notes, to discard it, since they could not meet the deadline, or they're almost trapped. You see? So government knows that they have this money in large quantity, these Naira notes. All right. And so the Nigerian people are the victim. That's why we are angry. We're angry about the nonchalant attitude of the government towards stopping this insecurity, because they are not victims. The people who are at the center of this brouhaha, who are suffering it who are suffering the dire consequences of the actions of these monsters, and also the actions and inactions of those in authority, those in government, are the people, are the citizens. That is it. So who can believe this? 100,000 naira each given from the bandits so they can go and change. And so these are the things we're talking about what government is doing, and government colluding with terrorists. You see? So because government are paying ransom, but they won't tell us. What about the Kaduna victims? What about the Kaduna victims? What is the job of Shegome if not negotiate between government and these people? Government will use the money for, the taxpayers' money to go and pay for ransom of victims. Of course, we're not saying that the victims should stay there and die, no. After all, government created insecurity that the people are suffering. But indirectly, government is also looting through that means. They are looting the resources meant for the public through that means, because they know the kidnappers, they know the bandits. They are working for some top government officials. So we have seen everything bad, evil, and ugly in this government. They are stealing from the source. They accuse the People's Democratic Party of corruption, but they are corruption themselves. They are not even practicing corruption, but rather they are corruption themselves. They are the embodiment of corruption. They symbolize corruption. Yes, when you look at what's happening in the downstream sector, the petroleum sector, you're going to ask yourself, what kind of government is this? Now look at the bandits, look at the kidnappings, look at the ransom, look at the amount of money they are gathering, they are maxing through these illegal means. So government is giving them, but they will come on the open and say, look, we will not pay. We will not pay. So these are the things happening, and that's why we have said it. When you check all these things, plus and minus, you begin to understand that we have gone deep. We have gone deep. We have gone deep. And there's no point, trying to amend. It's only to bring down the entire building and start afresh. All right? So the people are in charge. The residents said they pass through many highways and byways. They couldn't see any checkpoint, any military or police checkpoint, but rather it is those guys that are in charge. They are in charge. Forget about what this person saying that defeated them technically. We have defeated Boko Haram technically. Who said that? This way? Oh no. So we should not be deceived. They have not defeated anybody, unless they want to defeat themselves, because they know what is happening there. And so that is it. The terrorists sharing old notes in the northeastern part of the country to beat deadline. That is what is happening in the Banana Republic. Because only in Banana, this kind of thing will be happening. Yes. They don't know where they're hiding, but they know where they're hiding. So he's deceiving who? They don't know where they're hiding. The police, the army, the military don't know where they are hiding. The bandits, but they also know where they're hiding. So which one are we taking?